And good afternoon, everybody. Here once again, I'm recording here from Bendigo in central Victoria, and I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the First Peoples, that's the Jar Jar Wrong, of the elders, past, present, and future, and acknowledge that their struggles are part of our struggle, the class struggle. Well, it's been a real busy week for me. I've been on the road a lot of meetings, and I'm going to have another very busy meeting up next week as well. But a big discussion that's happening on everyone's mind is about the state of the economy. I'm involved in a few negotiations at the moment for new agreements in some workplaces, and we're looking next year is going to be a lot more busier with negotiations. We've got quite a few agreements expiring by the middle of next year, so it's going to be a hectic time, and certainly the economy, where the whole economic outlook, is not in favour of us workers. Well, first of all, I'd actually like to explain what's going on as well. Well, obviously, we had the federal budget a week or two ago. Yeah, it would have been about 2 weeks ago. And obviously the response out of that has been mixed messages. No doubt Murdoch media and also the remnants of the Fairfax, ABC, or spruiking, not been really highly critical of it as well, because basically what that means for us, and this is on top of there's a majority opinion that supports the current federal government budget, thinking their lives are going to improve. What's not taking into account is the amount of money that's been transferred from the poor to the very wealthy, and how much the very wealthy are receiving tax cuts and paying up to pretty much next to nothing in tax, and believing this whole ideology of the neoliberal trickle-down economics. Those at the top, all that wealth and money will trickle down to us. Certainly there's some money thrown at infrastructure works and other things as well to try and generate employment, but really it's still stuck with this whole neoliberal classical idea, laissez-faire capitalism. And the thing is, we're not going to, most of everyone in Australia here are not going to benefit. We may get a tiny little tax cut, I'm saying about $20, $30, but like I said in my last video, I'd rather see that money put towards other important measures such as health, education, housing, vital infrastructure, etc. Not just there so I can... what they're trying to do is trying to stimulate us to spend more so we can consume more. But the fact is, mostly a lot of people will be just trying to make ends meet, and that's not going to cover the cost of consistent rises of living anyway. So that's where it's at the moment. But obviously, if it was going to be so brilliant and great, well, then the question is, why then are companies trying to suppress wages and conditions lower and lower? There is even now called by many big businesses to get rid of the awards, which is your minimum, but your bare protections, and any agreements as well. Basically, have a free fall in the collapse of what's left of our wages and conditions, and that way they're only looking there to increase their profit, but they're also at the same time intensifying this crisis even more and sharpening the antagonisms, which is quite apparent now and quite clear in a capitalist society such as ours in Australia here. Obviously, moving forward, there's got a lot of questions as well. How we go about to rally against this? Well, most important thing, it's an old thing we've been doing many years, and we might have forgotten. We have to relearn again. We have to organise again. First of all, we have to educate ourselves again, agitate and organise, and that's the only way we've got. All we've got is each other, and if we don't prepare to organise and fight back and actually fight for a better Australia, a new Australia. And I think that's what we should be talking about, fighting for a new Australia, one that is free from all the class antagonisms of capitalism. A new society is what we ought to be building, and fighting for the government that will fight for working families, that will fight for us workers' interests, not for the interests of big business as we see every day that's happening in this country. Because believe me, in Parliament, state, federal, and some locals, the interests of big business are put foremost on everything, and our interests are put to a dead last. We'd be lucky to get a few crumbs at times, but that's a reality of what it is. We are in a capitalist system. that is a capitalist parliament. It is there primarily to be the executive servant of capitalism. And so that's why we've always got to keep that in mind. But that doesn't stop us, though, when elections do come around, to actually run our own working class candidates. And just at the moment, we still have the local government elections happening here in Victoria. They will be closing the end of next week. So if you are in Victoria, make sure you voted and your ballots are in by the 23rd of this month. Keep in mind too that the 23rd is also considered a public holiday. It's our grand final eve for this month. It was moved back for a few weeks. So it's vitally important that we support the union comrades, any good-minded working class people that'll stand up and fight for working families. And the people like ourselves have gone through the hard yards in life, know what it's like out there to make ends meet, and how to struggle every day, how to pay our bills and get by every day. So there's a few things we have to do, but as a simple program, I want to put forward to everyone to generate that discussion even more, and that way we can get organised now. I won't be too long because I'm going to be preparing my dinner very soon. It is getting close to, I think, 6 o'clock. It's tomorrow at 10 o'clock our time, Australian Eastern Daylight Time at 10 o'clock. The Centre of Political Innovation will be going live on YouTube and Facebook. I will put the links in the below in this YouTube once it's properly edited, and I'll also put the links to my Facebook page, Twitter account as well. We've got to support this. I know it's a US initiative with Caleb Maupin and many others, and also a very good comrade, and I regard as a very good comrade and friend of mine, Dust James, and a big shout out to you. He will be moderating it. He'll be the main moderator for it, an MC, etc. But obviously there's going to be many people tuning into that, and that's actually to bringing all of us together, not as a party, but it doesn't matter if you're in any of the CPs or any other left parties, or even in the Social Democratic Party like the ALP, for example. We can all get together and we can really have a good dialogue about moving forward, and it'd be good for us as well. So what we're going to do to move forward in Australia here, because at the moment we're still divided. The ruling class is just becoming more reactionary every day. Yes, we've still got this COVID-19 pandemic we're trying to get through, and we've been receiving setbacks that we do need to talk about moving forward as well. We're up against a lot of odds, but we can do it. As Lenin would say, the struggle is a long and tedious one. So we've got to be in this for the long haul. But I think actually overall, it's a good opportunity for all of us to dialogue with each other, discuss about moving forward. How are we going to organise and educate and agitate? What type of Australia do we want as well? I think that's a really good question. What is society? I want a society where profits do not dictate, that the people, the working class, are the ones that are in governance and rule. And we can have a centrally planned economy where we can really develop this country that'll benefit all of us, not the very few. The difference between capitalism and socialism is it comes down to production. Under capitalism, production's geared to make profit. Under socialism, production's geared to serve the needs of the people. So and I think we can do it. We've got the know-how, we've got the brains, we've got the skills. We can do this in Australia. Overall, I'm going to do a few more lives over the course of the next few days. I do apologise I didn't do one yesterday. I was actually very busy at the time. I got finished work. I was rather tired, and I wanted a quiet evening. But I wanted to emphasise that tomorrow 10 o'clock, in New South Wales, Victoria, ACT and Tasmania. The Centre of Political Innovation live conference will be on 9:30 in South Australia, 8:30 in Northern Territory, 9 o'clock in Queensland, and obviously it's 7 o'clock in the morning there in Western Australia. So hopefully, if you can tune in, lend your support, that will actually hopefully give us some help us maybe develop some ideas about moving forward as well. That's to talk about tonight. So please support this page as well. Support this page. Share it around. We do need to build the community here. That's what we want to do. It's not about me. I want to help build that community of everyone that wants to move forward in this country as well. So once again, look, I thank you for your time. Much appreciated. And obviously, do take care. but we're in for the long haul. Once again, thank you. Dare to struggle, dare to win.